Remember when cars felt like rolling dreams? Back in the 1960s, Detroit wasn't just making vehicles, they were crafting adventures. Every model promised something bold, a little wild, and unforgettable. Some of these ideas were genius. Others? Well, they didn't exactly stand the test of time. Today, we're looking at 10 American cars of the 60s with wild features you almost forgot ever existed. Buckle up, it's going to feel like flipping through an old family photo album of chrome, fins, and wild imagination. 1. The swing-away steering wheel, 1961 Ford Thunderbird. In 1961, the Ford Thunderbird introduced something that made folks do a double take. The entire steering wheel could swing to the side when you opened the door. It wasn't just a gimmick, it made slipping in and out of the car feel downright fancy. Drivers loved the futuristic feel, like something out of the Jetsons. But by the mid-60s, safety standards tightened, and moving steering columns weren't seen as practical anymore. Still, for a while, it made the T-Bird feel like magic on wheels. 2. Retractable hardtops, 1957 to 1960 Ford Skyliner. Technically introduced in the late 50s, but its wildest years spilled into the 60s. The Ford Skyliner's hardtop folded and disappeared into the trunk with a mechanical dance that amazed neighbors. It was pure spectacle. Just imagine pulling up to a drive-in and pressing a button to make the roof vanish. The system had miles of wiring and tons of moving parts, making it expensive and a bit finicky. By 1960, Ford retired the idea, but not before making car history with one of the coolest roof tricks ever. 3. Push-button transmission, 1960 Plymouth Fury. Back then, Plymouth wanted to make driving feel like operating a spaceship. Instead of a gear lever, the Fury used a row of push buttons on the dashboard. Just pick drive, reverse, or neutral with a satisfying click. It looked futuristic and felt unlike anything else on the road. Sadly, federal safety regulations and standardization pushed the feature out by the mid-60s. Still, folks who drove them never forgot the charm of shifting with a finger. 4. Rotating front seats, 1964 Chrysler Imperial Crown. Luxury in the 60s was all about making life easier. The Chrysler Imperial Crown had front seats that swiveled outward, letting passengers step out gracefully. For ladies in dresses or anyone tired of climbing out of big cars, it felt like a small miracle. These seats made every trip feel like arriving on a red carpet. But cost and mechanical complexity caused them to disappear by the decade's end, leaving us to wistfully remember how elegant they felt. 5. The dash-mounted record player, 1960 Chrysler and DeSoto. Yes, you could actually play vinyl records in your car. Chrysler offered a small, highway hi-fi unit under the dash that spun special 7-inch records while you cruised. Imagine riding along with Elvis or Patsy Cline playing straight from a record, not a radio station. Unfortunately, bumpy roads made the record skip, and most drivers stuck with AM radio. It didn't last, but it remains one of the quirkiest attempts to bring home entertainment into a car. 6. Hidden headlights, 1966 Oldsmobile Toronado. Muscle meets mystery. Oldsmobile's Toronado had headlights tucked away behind flip-up panels. When you turned them on, the panels swiveled open like eyelids. It gave the car a sleek, uncluttered look during the day and a dramatic reveal at night. Many 60s muscle cars followed suit, but maintenance costs eventually dimmed their popularity. Today, flip-up headlights are a symbol of pure 60s cool. 7. Rear-facing third seats, 1964 Ford Country Squire wagon. Family road trips in the 60s had a charm all their own. The Ford Country Squire wagons often had a rear-facing third-row seat. Kids loved waving at cars behind them or making faces through the big rear window. Parents loved fitting everyone in for vacations. But by the 70s, changing safety standards and new seating designs ended this quirky tradition. Ask anyone who sat back there, though, it's a memory they'll never forget. 8. The tilt-away door, 1963 Lincoln Continental with suicide doors. Few cars screamed style like the Lincoln Continental. Its rear-hinged, suicide doors swung open wide, making it easier for passengers to glide in and out. It looked regal, like a chauffeur-driven limo, even when Dad drove it to the supermarket. The design was stunning but costly and less safe in crashes, leading to its phase-out. Today, it's a beloved relic of Kennedy-era elegance. 9. Fiber optic light monitors, 1968 Cadillac DeVille. In the late 60s, Cadillac added tiny fiber optic indicators on the fenders and rear shelf that showed if your lights and signals were working. No need to get out and check your brake lights, just glance at the glowing dots inside. It felt space-age and practical all at once. Eventually, electronics advanced, and dashboards became smarter, making fiber optics unnecessary. But back then, it made you feel like you were driving the future. 10. Rear-mounted engines, 1960 Chevrolet Corvair. Chevy tried something bold with the Corvair, putting the engine in the back. It gave the car a flat floor and sporty handling, unlike anything else American made at the time. It felt European and daring, but safety concerns and Ralph Nader's famous book Unsafe at Any Speed cast a shadow over its design. By the late 60s, rear engines were gone from mainstream American cars. Still, the Corvair remains one of the most daring experiments of the era. The 1960s were a golden age of imagination on wheels. Not every idea lasted, but that's what made the era so special. Automakers weren't afraid to dream big. Which of these wild features would you love to see make a comeback? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still remembers the smell of vinyl seats on a summer day.